Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ, and I just want to show you guys how much it would take to get one of these top prospects. JT Realmuto. I know some of you guys recommended that I should go after a top prospect, trading away JT Realmuto, and he's pretty valuable. In real life, he's probably the most valuable player as far as trade chips go on the Miami Marlins active roster in the MLB. So look at Willie Calhoun, a top second baseman, a potential. Look at that. I mean, it's not even close. Like, they would require another player. I mean, probably another two players. If we go over to the Twins and just look at their top prospects, so Nick Gordon, the little brother of D. Gordon, look at this. Even with JT Realmuto, it'll still require somebody else. And Nick Gordon, if you look at him, he's pretty good in the field, don't get me wrong. But I wish his stealing was higher. He doesn't have very good stealing, but look at his power. His power is pretty much non-existent. And looking at Royce Lewis, look, they won't budge on him either. So it would take JT Realmuto and possibly another guy just to get one of these guys, one of these top prospects. So I want to show you guys one more. So let's go over to Bo Bichette on the Blue Jays. So look at this. I mean, it's even worse. I mean, this would require probably another A potential prospect. Let's just look. So let's look at B. Starlin Castro can't do it because of their financial restraints. But let's remove Justin Bohr here. But let's go down to like A potential. So go Brian Angel. Look at it. They still will not make this trade. So looking at that, I mean, it makes me think that, man, it's going to be hard to trade these guys. Look at Vlad Guerrero Jr. I mean, look at this. With an A potential and Realmuto, I mean, it would take two A's just to end JT Realmuto to get him. So definitely not something I'm willing to do. But let's hop into a real trade. So we did finally put together a deal for Santana. And let's look at his attributes one more time. Durability at 93. He's not going to get hurt often, but he's hitting 298 this season. It says that, well, before it said he's on a cold streak, but I'm glad that's gone. Contact versus right, power versus right. All his hitting is good except vision. He is kind of a defensive liability, so we will have to mask him somehow. Putting him somewhere, I mean, he plays right field, so we probably are going to have to keep him there. Maybe even down the line, potentially moving him to first base, trying him out at first base, kind of like the Brewers did with Ryan Braun. But let's look at this trade here. So Nick Whitgren, and one reason why they would want him is because if you look at their bullpen, he would slot in as one of the youngest in their bullpen. Because if you look at Josh Hader, he's definitely their best relief pitcher and probably going to be, come next year, he might be the best relief pitcher in baseball. I mean, he is that good. But if you look at this, they don't have much youth behind him. I mean, they have Matt Alberts 35, Boone Logan 33, Jeffries 30, 31, 30, 34, 35. Look at all this age in their bullpen. So getting Nick Whitgren would definitely give them a B potential guy so he can still grow. He does have an ERA in the 4s in his career with Miami pretty much, but his whip's never been great. He's never been a great relief pitcher, but maybe they think that he'll strive with them being a 26-year-old. He has room to grow. But one guy that we did have to give up is our number 9 prospect in our organization, and Nick Nader. So he's 21 years old, 59 hits per 9, 78 stamina. He's pretty good, but they were initially asking for Braxton Garrett, who I'm definitely not willing to give up, especially after the draft we just had. We had a draft where it consisted of getting an infielder for the future, 2 outfielders for the future, and a closing pitcher for the future. So we didn't really get too much starting pitching. So now we have to give up a starting pitcher, but at least it's not one of our top 2 guys in our organization. So Nick Nader going out. But here's where it gets tricky. So we're giving up Magneuris Sierra, who's actually a top 10 prospect in real life. But if you look at him, he's B potential, 61 overall. He does have some time at the majors. He hit 317 and 60 at bats last year with St. Louis. He did come over in the Azuna trade. So I'm kind of sad to see him go, but the thing is, he's kind of blocked. I mean, let's be honest, he's blocked. He's got Monty Harrison ahead of him, Lewis Brinson ahead of him. Go over to right field. He's got Aquino ahead of him. Then he's also got Trey Almonte that we just drafted ahead of him. Left field, really not much competition. But then we have the other outfielder. His name is slipping my mind right now, but the lefty who we drafted in with our 5th pick, he's gonna be there as well, and he's a beast. He's got power. So I actually think Magneuris Sierra is going to be blocked. So I feel like this is a fair trade. You're getting a top 10 prospect in our organization, and I believe he's actually a top 100 prospect in baseball. Then you're getting Nick Nader, who's a pretty good pitcher, and then you're getting an arm in the bullpen as well. So you're getting 3 B potential guys, all under the age of 26, and one that's in the major leagues right now who's okay as a pitcher, but he's not great. But then you got Magneuris Sierra, who's a high B. He's not just a low B, he's a high B. He's like 86, 87 potential, so he's got the potential to be pretty good. And then you have Nick Nader, who's actually another high B. He's like 86 potential as well. So we're actually giving up a lot, but we're getting a guy who's under cost control. He's $790K this year, but his arbitration year is coming up next year, so he's under our control for the next 3 years. So this is a guy that we probably can make a deal for. So I like this trade. We do trade away 2 prospects and an MLB ready guy, but I like this trade, so let's offer this trade to them. So it looks like they accepted. So we finally have another outfield spot locked down, and Aquino is doing pretty good in the minors, but I do want to give him a year to develop there, maybe even see what he's got towards the end of this season at the major league level. But I mean, this is a good sign. Domingo Santana, let's see where he'll slot up in the lineup. So looking at our lineup, I just got done saying Aquino isn't ready for the majors, but you know what? I actually might make a switch here because Lewis Brinson might need some work in the minor leagues. He's been struggling, much like he is in real life actually. With the Brewers, he struggled, and starting out with the Marlins in real life, he struggled. So he's close to getting moved down. I can't lie. He's pretty close, and Aquino might get his shot because Lewis Brinson is just struggling right now. He's a hometown kid. I don't want to trade him. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trading him, but I just need to get him some work, get him some new work. So Starlin Castro is going to hit second now. So he's going to move up to the second spot, which actually means Johnny Giavotella is going to move to the bench, and Domingo Santana is going to hit in the third spot. I think that's the right place to put him because look at his power versus right 80. And one thing I liked about Starlin Castro is that he did hit to the gap a lot. So if I can get on with Brinson, he can maybe swipe a bag. He's only 75 speed, but if I can get on with him, swipe a bag possibly, and Aquino actually, he can swipe bags. Like I was playing some AAA games with him. He can swipe some bags. He's a guy to look out for. JT Realmuto at 5, Martin Prado at 6, and the reason why I have Brian Anderson so low is because he's kind of struggling too. He's hitting 227, and he isn't really doing too well, and Leury Garcia is actually having a pretty good year. I'm glad that I got him, so he'll be probably our utility guy of the future. Looking at left-handers now, JT Realmuto moves up to the 2 spot, and mainly because Starlin Castro isn't he isn't a great hitter versus left. He's a good hitter, but not a great hitter. JT Realmuto is actually, I like just the contact he makes versus left. It just seems like he hits the ball a lot harder versus left, and he just hits the ball hard whenever it is actually. Domingo Santana is going to hit in the 3 spot again. Justin Bour, Starlin Castro is going to move down. Martin Prado at 6, Brian Anderson at 7, Leury Garcia at 8. So I do have to move somebody down here, so we do probably have to make a move to move somebody down. And plus, Miguel Rojas is actually coming back from injury pretty soon. I believe he has actually a couple days on the DL, and we're going to have to make another move. So JT Riddle, he's a guy that, I mean, look at his hitting zones, though. They're all blue, so he's just not a good hitter. And Miguel Rojas, he's got deep potential. He's definitely not a part of the future. So I actually might move him to the AAA or AA level and keep JT Riddle at least as a reserve guy, because I kind of like JT Riddle as just a guy coming off the bench. He has better speed than Rojas, 52 speed to 66. So I'm actually, let's just move him down right now. So he's on the DL, so I can't move him down right now, but let's actually, we have to move somebody else. So Johnny Giavotella, I do want to keep around. Who's another guy on our bench? So let's look at our outfield here. Derek Dietrich is another guy. I do like Dietrich because he fills in pretty nicely when I do simulate. He still has good hitting stats, and he can play the outfield. So I might have to move down JT Riddle. Is there another guy? Actually, I don't want to move down anybody in our bullpen because I actually lost an arm, so I need to kind of gain an arm. So I do need to move down a hitter, and it might end up being Garrett Cooper, but you know, pinch hitting, he's doing pretty well. He's hitting 291, so I don't want to mess that up. That's the only thing. I don't want to mess that up. So maybe Johnny Giavotella might just lose his spot. Nah, I can't do that. I got to move down JT Riddle because at least Giavotella can hit the ball pretty well. He's hitting for a high average right now, 391, but he can only play one position. So when he plays, he'll probably have to play second base no matter what. So let's move down JT Riddle. Let's get him some work. He is B potential, so he still can develop. So let's move him down to AAA. So let's move him down. So now we're at 25 man. Actually, on our active, we just moved him down for no reason because we moved him down. Now we're at 24. So we do have to want to move up a pitcher though, because we do need some bullpen help now that we moved a pitcher. I'm thinking about going with Jumbo Diaz. He's doing pretty good in AAA. He's 105 whip, which is pretty good. But look at Tazawa. But I think he only has 4 innings pitched. So, I mean, that's not a big sample size. At least I can see the sample size in Jumbo Diaz. 20 innings out of the bullpen. And he's got a 105 whip, as well as, who's that I just saw? So, Javy Guerra. He's actually doing pretty good as well. So, let's look at who's better, though. Okay, Jumbo Diaz is better. I mean, let's look at his control though. 59 control. I do need somebody that can control the ball. So 49. So I'm going with Jumbo Diaz. Let's move him up. Do need to add him to the 40 man. So let's add him to the 40 man really quick and move him up. So this is what the 25 man roster is going to look like now. So I'm actually going to have some gameplay in this video. I want to do the debut of Domingo Santana in a Marlins uniform. I almost said Brewers there. Let's actually make sure he's got his number before starting this game. But let's hop into the action, man. Going up against the Cardinals. So we're actually going up against the NL Central team. Let's get into it. Let's go. Carlos Martinez on the mound for the Cardinals, and he's got a 111 whip. He's one of the elite pitchers in baseball now. I think he's starting to creep into that elite conversation. He's definitely a guy that we would like on our team, a guy like that. Probably not him specifically, but a guy like that. We have nobody pretty much at the top of our rotation. We have Wei Chin, who's not bad, but he's not a number one by any stretch. So getting started in the top of the first inning, you know Domingo Santana's batting third, so I was hoping to get those first 2 guys on, but here he is. He's actually first in the NL in right field in all-star voting. And when a 2-1 count, has a low fastball, swings that one probably out of the zone, but grounds out to the second baseman. So here it is, man. Wei Chin on the mound. This is our pretty much number 1. He's actually number 2 in our rotation, but it's strategic. I mean, because we know we don't have a great ace, so we kind of make our ace our second guy in the rotation, and right away he's getting Tommy Pham to strike out here, so he's looking good early on in this game, getting a lot of batters out with strikeouts. So here's Domingo Santana on for a second at bat here in the top of the 4th inning. 1-2 count. This time he hits a bullet to right field, and that's going to be the first hit of Domingo Santana's, hopefully his long Miami Marlins career. But here's Justin Bour. I mean, it's going to take a little bit getting used to with this lineup, but I'm pretty sure once we get going, I think we're going to start driving in a lot of runs, pretty much covering up for our pitching. But right now we're kind of rusty. We're kind of in that phase where right after the draft, probably that draft hangover. So here we are. Here in the bottom of the 5th inning, Wei Chin leaves one over the middle of the plate, and that one is going to be a home run for Jurecko. And that is going to be a 1-0 lead here in St. Louis in the bottom of the 5th inning. So I've had to kind of play a little small ball in this game because I see that I'm not really driving in runs, and the Cardinals aren't really doing the same either. So they're getting these little hits with grounders to second base, beating them out. Haven't gotten many hits up to this point, but here's a big hit this time to the gap, and Yadier Molina is coming up next after that run comes in to score. Pop fly up to center field. This time Brinson's going to field this one, but he's not going to throw it on the run. He's going to kind of take his time, throw to third base. So the runner is going to tag up and get to third base. So Colton Wong comes up next with 2 outs, 1-2 count, and Wei Chin is going to hit one and another small grounder, but Wei Chin is not going to get out of this inning so fast. Colton Wong's going to beat that one out, but with 2 outs, we're going to get Dexter Fowler this time to ground out to the second baseman. So here we are into the top of the 8th inning, this time getting started here with a 3-2 count, 1 out in this inning. So Domingo Santana comes up for his 4th at bat of the game, and he hits one deep, and that one is just going to be caught at the warning track. It was that close to being a 2-3 game here in the 8th inning. So Justin Bour comes up, 3-2 count, inside fastball right in his wheelhouse, and he pretty much whiffs at that one. So now on to the top of the 9th inning. JT Realmuto starting out this inning, but this time it deflects off the pitcher for the line drive, and that's going to be an out. So with 1 out, Martin Prado comes up to bat, and Martin Prado's actually been hot lately, and he gets on with a single here in the 9th inning. So Brian Anderson comes up next, 3-1 count, and Brian Anderson is a guy that's not hitting the ball very solid. I mean, he's hitting the ball. I mean, he's not striking out, but he's just not hitting the ball as solid as I would like. So with 2 outs, Leury Garcia comes up and grounds out to second base, and that is going to be the game. And Wei-Yin Chen, I mean, he didn't do too bad on the mound, but I'm telling you, just those little hits, those ground balls in the infield that they beat out, the sacrifice flies, all that. I mean, all that came into play in this game. It was a 9-hit game for us. We just didn't put it together when it mattered. We kind of spread our hits out. But look at Martin Prado. He went 3 for 4. Starlin Castro went 2 for 4 as well. Domingo Santana goes 1 for 4 in his debut, but I expect big things from him in the 3 holes, so you don't want to miss any action. So hit subscribe, hit that like button, because next episode we're gonna hop into some real action and a surprising move by the organization, so you don't want to miss that one. So stay tuned. Let's go.